I've been with TalentPredix since the very inception of the organization, so it's been some years now, and I think I was one of the first practitioners to get certified in this wonderful tool. So it's been some years, and it's been quite a journey since then, and still going strong with this tool. And the more I'm using it, the more I'm actually enthusiastic about it. So yeah, it's been some years. Let me just go back a step on this question. I've been around doing, using assessments in my profession for many years now, and I've used many of the good tools out there. But I would say that one thing I really like about TalentPredix is it's the holistic approach it takes, and you have such rigorous evidence behind it. So it's kind of one of those tools that I love to use because it has the three aspects. It has the talents, it has the career aspect, and it's also the values. And I think what I really like about using it is that I can, whichever angle I take with a person or group of people, it's basically really looking at the whole person at work. So I really love the fact that it's one of those tools that can be used practically on so many levels. I really do think it's one of the better tools out there, and it's definitely the new generation tools, which has some very practical approach, but also that evidence behind it. And I think that's what the world needs today. I didn't have a lot of challenges in my experience. I mean, as I say, I'm one of those practitioners that has used many tools. The one thing I would say is it's a very versatile tool. You can use it with in one-to-one executive situations. You can use it only for career advice. You can use it for groups. So evidently there is quite a bit of data coming out of it. So I think it's important, more than a challenge, is that when you use the tool, you really adapt the tool usage to the groups that you work with. And what I mean by that practically is because there's the value aspect, because there's the talent aspect, and also your fundamental dimensions in terms of what makes your career important. I think it's important to ensure that we put the emphasis on one or two of the areas when debriefing it with groups, and making sure that the groups are very that we work with, or the leaders that we work with, are very clear on what the difference is between these three aspects within that same tool, because it could be easy to mingle the three and then not make it clear what is it actually measuring, although it is very clear. So it's important about language, but I think the challenge as such is how do we explain the three aspects and dimensions of that tool in a simple language, and make it very clear to the audience and the users what each of these measures and what the combination actually gives in terms of added value. I think, as I already mentioned a little earlier, but to expand on that, I think the uniqueness comes from the fact that it's a tool that is so versatile. It has this kind of, in a way, you could use it only at the talent level, but you can also go much deeper with it. There's so much around the values of a person, the career drivers, and the talent. So I think the fact that it has these three dimensions make it very different to any other tool I've ever used. It's a tool that can help you with your career decisions. It's a tool that can help you to really understand your strengths and talents and leverage them in a way which is quite unique. It gives also very good advice and tips in there. What does it mean when you use your strengths and talents in a way that is right at the right point, and what does it mean when you might use them too much or in excess, as we say in the TalentPredix language? What does that actually tell you? And it's actually a tool that gives, in its simplicity, a lot of depth. So it has these two sides to it, which I really think is very useful for what we need in the marketplace today. Today it's all about speed, but we don't want to lose the quality. And I think the big advantage of this particular tool compared to others out there is that it has both. So I would say that's probably the unique selling point and also value to me and as a practitioner and my clients. So I think in terms of benefits, first of all, it can give a map around what are your top 5 talents. In it, there are several measured, but I think top 5 is really a number you can recall, a number you can work with in its simplicity. I think the other benefit, it actually helps you to to have that DNA. There's this DNA aspect of it, which means that you can really, at one glance, see the three things: what are my values, what are my drivers, and what are my talents. And I think the benefit of that is sometimes, especially when you work at very senior level, people don't have much time to go maybe through everything, but having it all in one page, summarized, I think you have that benefit of both. You can go very deep with it, or you can keep it more at a higher level and at a more succinct essence level. And I think the benefit to many people out there, as I said earlier, is the speed at which we can actually digest the information, but also the depth at which we can go. I think the other benefit is that compared to other tools on the marketplace, I think you also have the benefit of using it with all sorts of level in the organizations, from top leaders down to really individual contributors, because it's really such a versatile tool. Thirdly, I think, and lastly, the benefit is that I think TalentPredix is like, as I say, it's a tool of a new generation, because we always, in the older days, we were kind of looking at leadership as something kind of abstract and up there, but it's actually, leadership is everywhere, right? We know more and more that now leadership is about the collective leadership. It's about leadership behaviors, whether you are in a leadership role or not. And I think TalentPredix really taps into that and doesn't make it only uniquely tailored around one layer in the organization, but it's accessible to everyone. I think there's been quite a lot of debates we had in several sessions with groups, but also with one-to-one executive coaching, where leaders were asking, well, for example, if I've got autonomy as one of my career drivers, is that meaning that I can't be a good leader because I'm not maybe liaising enough with other people, and so on. And I think the key here is to really understand the difference between the three aspects of that DNA, so that one is really a much more in-depth or deeper underlying value system that you have, and the other one is more when and if you're driven by that value, and you add learned skill and maybe the right context, how that can really make you thrive. So I think we had a lot of leaders discussions where they were not sure about whether having one or the other talent or having one or the other value actually diminishes their leadership. And I think what we came to the conclusion is, when it comes to what's really your underlying driver and value, that is really the most important of all. Everything else that comes with after that is something you learn, is something you can hone, is something you can change. And even values in a way could change, but I think the discussions we had is really about, I think sometimes it's hard for people to disentangle these three aspects. And so in practice, I think what people then at the end come to the conclusion with, whether it's leaders or also groups, is that every time we come back to the same point. So it's the combination, the unique combination of those three aspects that makes you a unique person. So we had a lot of discussions around the uniqueness, and not to jump to conclusions because you have a label that says a certain things in there, and that does not necessarily mean that you don't have the ability to do certain things. So it's about tapping into your potential, but that doesn't mean if you have one that is not represented, you are not able to do certain things. Everything can be learned, but ultimately what drives you, whether it's purpose, there's so many of them, I think what drives you is really the driving force behind it. In my stage of my career, I have used so many of these tools, but what I really found useful when I looked at my profile, for example, to share personally here, is that, I have, for example, ownership, positive energy, relationship building, and self-development, and understanding others as my talents. And I think what I really learned is that with my career drivers, for example, being all about developing people and personal growth and better world, and then these values, which is all about achievement and kindness and learning, I think that combination has made me aware of where really my potential is. And I always thought my potential is already maximized, because when you learn throughout your life and you reach a certain stage in your career, you think you're well-rounded professional or leader, but in fact it's really helped me to understand there's so much more one can learn, because that these three aspects combine is making me realize, well, you know what, I can still hone more, for example, that positive energy, and it gave me lots of good tips around how to adapt that to specific audiences. As an example, when I go and deliver or work with more, cultures where it's all about analysis, it's all about research, it's a little bit more personality styles and cultures which much more on the introverted side, on the introspective side, I'm so much better now at adapting this energy that I have so that it actually channels in a way that is helpful, and that I kind of tap into my pragmatism, which is maybe a little bit sometimes less pronounced, just so that I reach my end clients in a much more powerful way. And even though I thought I had already learned all that, TalentPredix has really shown me through that DNA approach that in fact there is so many more things one can do to really tap into those strengths and also kind of tone them down. So personally, I've benefited enormously from this and learned so much more about myself and how I have impact and can have impact on people that I work with.